What does Black Wednesday mean to journalists and the Black consciousness movement? Has South Africa's political freedom translated into media freedom? Would a media appeals tribunal be in the best interests of the media? And what is the South African National Editors Forum's position on the protection of state information bill? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. 19 October is annually commemorated as Black Wednesday or Media Freedom Day in South Africa. Exactly 38 years ago, then Apartheid-era Minister of Justice Jimmy Kruger passed a law banning the World newspapers, the Weekend World and Veritate newspapers. A popular ideology at the time, the Black consciousness movement suffered the same fate as well. 17 Black consciousness organizations were also banned on that fateful day. A reminder that this program is live and therefore you can call us and air your views. The number to dial 0891104210. If you're outside the borders, 002789 11042110. Our Twitter handle @QuestionTime24. My guest today, Katie Katopodis, who is the Secretary General of SANEF, South African National Editors Forum, Libon Mabasa, who is a veteran of the Black consciousness movement, and indeed will be taking your calls throughout the show. The numbers to dial are there on the screen, 0891104210. Welcome to Question Time.
Thank you.
Denos, you were there on the day 38 years ago?
Yeah, I was. I was just commenting that the concept Black Wednesday is actually relatively new to us because we did not see that day as signaling defeat of Black people. We actually saw it as the beginning of new struggles. We refused to accept that which was imposed on our people in 1960 should be repeated in 1977. And that is the reason that for a very long time, the Black consciousness movement referred to that day as Black Solidarity Day, refusing to attach a negative notion on the struggles of Black people.
Although we talk about Media Freedom Day and all that, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and that's the reason why we invited you here, that the Black consciousness movement suffered on that particular day.
But actually, yes, it did. But actually, it provided the impetus. I think without that day and the subsequent actions of the Black consciousness movement, we would not have talked about the formation of new organizations and so on. The resilience, the strength, and the desire that our program will not be determined outside ourselves. 5 months later, ASAPO was formed, and a few years later, the UDF was formed. And if you remember, immediately after the banning, everybody thought they had said something very intelligent that no, overt politics don't work. We must all go underground. And we said, if we go underground, we might go deeper than where miners go and never come up, like it had happened in the past. And therefore, the fact that we were resilient, the fact that we said we'll organize our people openly, created the possibilities that today have given birth to that which all of us are proud of. It's a very funny thing. It's like you're supposed to have lost, but in a different kind of way you have won.
Okay. Let's talk the media element into this particular day. Today, you don't seem to be celebrating. Instead, you seem to be raising more issues, actually, that pertain to the freedom of the media.
You know, Mpho, we mark this day, Media Freedom Day, Black Wednesday, and we're very cognizant of the fact, as SANEF, that the Black consciousness movements were banned, as were several newspapers. And we are very proud of the fact that we have a very free media in South Africa. But you're absolutely right, because we do raise two very important issues. We've got a looming Protection of State Information Bill, and we also have a proposed Media Appeals Tribunal, both of which SANEF doesn't agree with, both of which we believe we don't need in a free and democratic media environment.
Why?
For me, the answers are quite simple. I think that it's important to know that there are already avenues in place for people who've been wronged by the media, because we're not perfect. And at no point are we ever saying the media is perfect and we never make mistakes. Far from it. At the end of the day, we are human beings. Our newsrooms are filled with human beings, and human beings aren't robots. Somewhere along the line, they may err. What we are saying is, along this road, if we have erred with regards to anyone we've interviewed or stories that we tell, there are avenues for people. We've got the Press Council, we've got the Press Ombudsman. For broadcasting, there's the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. And over and above that, we've also got the legal route. If anybody feels aggrieved, they certainly can go the legal route in South Africa. And, you know, Mpho, we believe that these bodies are credible, and they're led by credible people who make sometimes very tough rulings against us. You know, we look at these rulings and we go, oh, gulp, oh my goodness.
Is Joe always saying this?
Yes. Bright Joe has been very, very hard on us in the past, and rightly so. And rightly so. And when we do make mistakes, I think we have a responsibility to correct those mistakes. But we're saying, allow us to do that as an organisation or as the media itself. We don't believe a media appeals tribunal is necessary.
Does this then say you're living in a country that perhaps you did not struggle for, Mr. Mobasa?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Normally, when that which you say you want doesn't come, the tendency is to look for reasons so that those who say that those things have not come should not say them. So it's a combination of things. But in an evolving democracy, and I use that word guardedly, it will be more important for people to say a lot of things until things are in place. But when people would feel they are afraid to talk, they are afraid to put a view contrary to popular view, we then fail in creating that which we say we are creating.
Well, I'm not so sure that should we expect anything good from you to say about this government, because you don't like it anyway.
I have said a lot of good things, and this is a debate between me and comrades in the ANC. They posed exactly the same question, and I say there are levels where I would not think twice in working with the government. If the government says to me, Libon, let's defend national sovereignty, they can wake me up at 12 at night. I would say, I'm a South African, we need to defend national sovereignty. If, for my part, the government would say, Libon, we think we must discuss how to cancel the apartheid debt, I will not ask one or two questions. I would say, count me in. So there are lots of places where we agree. I could, historically, we had problems with homelands and as the Black Consciousness movement. But when the apartheid regime wanted to incorporate Ngwavuma into Swaziland, the people who worked side by side with, it was Inkatha Freedom Party, and we didn't agree with it. But we thought, because we as the Black Consciousness movement were fighting for the defense of national sovereignty, they are fighting maybe for it to be part of the Zulu kingdom. We'll sort that out once we have won the war that Ngwavuma is not incorporated. There are no such things as I can't work with you and so on. We have to consider what is it that is at stake, and how do we handle a way forward. I'm sure you have heard words like a united front. A united front is normally based on a limited program to work with others, even when on overall you might not agree to work with them on other things.
We'll talk about the protection of state information bill after the break. And we'll be taking your calls. 089-110-4210 is the number to dial. This is question time.
SABC brings to you Rugby World Cup 2015.
Let's do this.
Breaking news. Clientele is giving more back to our clients. In fact, we are giving it all back.
Yes, all your premiums, every single cent you ever paid, on top of your payout amount, in cash, tax-free. This is a South African first. Plans start from only 120 Rand per month.
The Clientele Ultimate Dignity Plan.
The only funeral plan that pays you everything back.
SMS Ultimate to 47025 and we'll call you back.
The road to greatness is not an easy one. It's rough, tough, and full of barriers. And there's only one way to master it. Never, ever stop. Dauntless, the all-new Audi Q7.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Katie Katopodis, who is the Secretary General of SANEF. Labun Mavaso is a Black consciousness activist and veteran of the movement itself. Archie, you're calling us from Velcom. Welcome. Archie? Okay. Archie? We seem to be having a problem with that. Okay. Let's look at the protection of state information. Are you saying, as the media, we want access to anything and everything?
No, I don't think that's what we're saying as the media. We're just saying there need to be reasonable measures in place. When it comes to the protection of state information bill, at the moment it's sitting on President Jacob Zuma's desk, and we'd like him to refer it to the Constitutional Court. So that the Constitutional Court can have a look at the constitutionality of it. We don't believe, as the media, it'll pass constitutional muster, and we really would like the President to send it to the Con Court.
I thought that, the media and the President were cool, if I may use the word, There was a very good meeting recently, the ANC, SANEF for them, Shoshwe was there. President, we thought everything was okay. What happened?
I think there's a very healthy tension there, and there always should be between government and media. In any healthy democracy, I believe you'll find a really healthy tension that exists. So there'll be issues that we agree on, and there'll certainly be issues that we disagree on. Okay. We disagree on protection of state info bill. We disagree on media appeals tribunal, which is being proposed. But there are other issues. For example, the ANC recently proposed that criminal defamation be taken out of the law books. And we welcome that. We are very encouraged to hear that, actually. So we're very much on the same side when it comes to criminal defamation.
But I'd thought that the media, at some point, does pursue a political agenda. Actually, that's the reason why the media was banned 38 years ago.
Now, why the media was banned 38 years ago and whether or not the media today pursues a so-called political agenda, I think they're two very separate issues. We must never really forget where we come from. And the fact that newspapers were banned all those years ago on the 19th of October, together with the Black consciousness movements, must never, ever be forgotten. I'm one of those people who feels very strongly about remembering our past and remembering where we come from, because that'll help us in terms of our futures and where we're going. So I certainly don't think they're the same issue. I think they are very separate issues.
Lucas, you are in Limpopo. Lucas, we seem to be losing a lot of people here. However, the number to dial 089-110-4210. You would have been happy that the media was banned together with the Black Consciousness Movement organizations at the time for pursuing the Black agenda?
For the Black agenda was nothing else but a scientific articulation of the aspirations of the people. Because if we put it in terms which people don't understand, the media was not saying anything out of except that these are the conditions of black people, and we're presenting them to the world so that they understand. And the Black consciousness similarly was saying this is where we are and this is how we think we should go forward. And therefore,
Mr. Mabasa, apologies. I think we must also remember the context of the time. The apartheid government wanted to silence the media.
Absolutely.
It wanted very much to silence the stories that were being told about the lives of people who had no access to democracy, the lives of people who were being completely overruled by this apartheid government. So it suited them to ban the media as it did to ban Black consciousness movements.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I agree with
Dougie, or rather, is this Dougie? Yes, Dougie, you're in the Val.
Yes.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's good, that's good. I want to ask both the people. First, the lady. She looks very young to be in charge of a journalist's situation, because I don't think she was born in 1978 or near 1978. I think she must have still been a teenager. But anyway, and then the gentleman that says you must, as long as it's a united front, it must be a united front for the right, not for the wrong. Yeah, you had the thing on with Hamas today. Hamas is regarded as a terrorist group, but the ANC is welcoming them with open arms. So yeah, I would agree with some of you, but I won't agree with all of you. Because really, when you say united front, then it depends what are you standing united about. And if that's the right thing you're standing united about.
Okay, Dougie.
Yes.
Dougie, would you stand united for media freedom? Douglas? Okay, Dougie is gone. But I guess, well, he was raising a point. What are you standing united for?
Oh, well, I think he had the words united front. And our concept of a united front is where people collectively, and they don't need to belong to the same organization, identify those things. There might be 3, there might be 10, that will force a way forward and better development of a people. And they say, on this platform, we travel together. Okay. We travel with SANEF on that which they are saying now about the media tribunal and all the other elements they are putting, because we think basically we need to protect the whole concept of democracy, give people more right to say the things they see. And of course, if there are problems, she has already stated that there are instruments, there are institutions in place that can help to correct those things. Okay. For the black majority in South Africa, and this is a reality, it's how many years into democracy? How do you work in a situation that after so many years, black people still occupy the lowest rung of the economic ladder, prompting organizations such as the United Nations Development Program to say black people in the main are worse off than they have ever been under the apartheid regime? No, those kind of things really need to be changed.
Archie, I hope you can hear us now. You're in welcome.
No, I can do.
Okay.
I can do. Do you hear me now?
Yes.
The point is that good evening to all of you there. The point is, during those days, you never knew who Laimo Mabaso is, but you knew that he was a writer. During those days, way back, you would also, as you are going to buy a newspaper for the either weekend or during the week, you would know which reporter or a journalist to follow. because there was a concrete reporting during those days. For example, these days, at a glance, I know that now our people as black people don't own these newspapers. They are just work there. But now you can see that now this writer has been sponsored in inverted commas to write what he is writing, and you can see that now as you go to the story, he is just to fill in the blank spaces, because now the whole information has been written. So there is that effect whereby you find that the respect towards some of the journalists, you don't even know who they are. You don't have to know who they are, but you've got to follow their strong and no-nonsense writing. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. Indeed, what do you do now with sponsored journalism?
I think it has a place depending on where it is, and I think we need to be transparent about it. So if there is a feature, for argument's sake, that's brought to you by a particular company, I think the basic tenets of ethical journalism mean that you've got to be very transparent and say this feature on healthcare is brought to you by a pharmaceutical company, if that's the route that the editors decide to go. As long as there's clear transparency, for me that's the important thing. We mustn't hide behind advertorials and pretend that they're journalism. So if we're honest about what something is, then I think we're okay.
What is getting journalists in danger?
What is putting journalists in danger? Well, I think we've got a few scenarios that put journalists in danger. I think if the Protection of State Information Bill comes in, that'll certainly put some journalists in danger, particularly around documents that may or may not be classified. And then I also think we've got another issue which is emerging in South Africa. Journalists often find themselves in the firing line, so they'll often end up going into areas where communities don't quite trust, and they'll end up focusing their attentions on the journalists and targeting journalists. And I think it's an education process. I think it's about informing communities that journalists have a really important role to play in society. Okay. We want to tell stories. We want to tell people's stories. And sometimes there aren't always the good news stories, because I believe as journalists we need to be a reflection of our society. We act as mirrors to reflect what's happening in our society. Mzingiz,
you are in the Eastern Cape.
Yes, but how are you today?
Well, thanks for the call.
Yes, I want to congratulate the media, the work that they've done all along, because even now, everything that you know, because here we are in the deep rural areas, we don't know actually what's happening at the provincial level, district level, national level, we don't know. But through the media, we know everything. But women still encourage them that they must continue to do their work, but they must make sure that everything that they write, it must be true all the time, because they write sometimes other things that are not true. And, like, for instance, this thing of Nkandla, it's true. That's why I'm congratulating them. It's true, because when the president yesterday was saying the media was not coming back to explain to the people that their resources was wrong, it's not that, because there's a house in Nkandla.
Okay.
Where the money built in Nkandla comes from, because seemingly the president squanders the money. Simple. So I want to congratulate them. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mzee. Now, Prajo Mdlela says free press owes no political or other allegiance at all. Now, Mr. Mabasa, you're not supporting them because you're not in power.
Supporting who?
The media in their struggles.
I thought I said we work and support the media. Quite obviously, there would also be things which the media do not see in the same eye as we do. And in that case, there's very little we can do. We'll put our complaints, we'll keep on saying, you don't write the stories because these are the stories of SOPA and so on. But we have always supported the media. And when we have differed with them, we have differed with them in a transparent and open way, where we tell. I'll give you an example. When we started here, I said the reality is that it was the Black Consciousness movement through the program that was defined by Biko at the Sasso BPC trial, confrontational politics, to say we'll no longer pull back, we'll confront the mountains in front of us and see how much of them can we move. Today, when I see the students at WITS, at Rhodes, at Cape Town, I call them the children of Biko. They have learned that they should not believe that their cases can be represented by other people other than themselves who actually are feeling the whip. So it's important.
Okay. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I'm not censoring you.
We're on the same side, so I do believe that.
Okay. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guests and to you for watching the show. Get in touch with us. Email address questiontime@sabc.co.za. From me and the crew, have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.